I'm John Machacek. I'm originally from Langdon, North Dakota, and I work at the United Way of Casclay in Fargo.
And what's your job title?
Job title is Vice President of Finance and Operations.
So what's a normal day for you in this position?
Normal day, well, from the finance and accounting side, I mean, that part can be kind of cyclical, whether it's an every 2 week kind of thing, a once a month thing, a once a year thing. So you have that part, the cyclical things include, like, say, I'm doing payroll twice a month. I'm making payments, doing checks, paying our agencies that we support, and then monthly things would just be doing monthly financial statements. There's just all kinds of things like that. And then from the operations side of things, you never know what's coming at you. There could be just a maintenance issue, a computer thing. Could be some meetings. It's just, and with a small organization, we do wear a lot of hats around here. So I could be helping anybody any day. So.
How big is the staff here?
Staff of 10.
Okay. Tell us about your education.
I went to Minnesota State University in Moorhead, and my degree, technically I have 2 degrees. They're basically about the same. I have a hotel restaurant management degree, and then another basically major in business management, just based on the courses I took.
So why did you choose this job, or how did you fall into this position?
Falling into it, that's a good way to make, because I didn't, obviously when I went to school, I was thinking more like, I kind of wanted to manage a restaurant or maybe even own my own business someday, and just kind of have fallen into some of the jobs I had, and it's once I had a wife and kids that the restaurant thing wasn't as appealing anymore, just the amount of hours and the work, and this particular job here, it was, I wasn't really looking for it, and I was a good volunteer for the United Way, and had made a lot of good contacts around town. So my neighbor came up when they were looking for someone on their finance side. So I was approached, and I think the timing was right. I was working at a bank, and at the time I was like, gosh, do I want to keep doing the banking or not? And it just seemed like a good challenge, and there's a lot of components here that I like. It's like I said, you wear many hats. So I'm doing finance stuff and accounting stuff, but I'm also doing like operations and office management and shoveling sidewalks and doing all kinds of things.
How many hours do you normally work in a week?
A normal week on our slower times, I would say 40 to 45, and then a busier for us, which was just kind of our post-campaign time. So for me, it's like November to April. I work probably about 50 to 55 hours a week.
Do you take work home with you?
I try not to. I don't like to take work home, but I don't do it too much. I do have remote access, but what I found is that I just don't seem like I get as much done when I bring it home. So if anything, if I really need to do it, I just end up staying in or coming back into work. I have more distractions at home, and when I'm there, I want to spend time with my wife and kids.
How would you describe the pace at which you work?
The pace here for our organization is actually it's pretty fast paced and people always assume it's just fast during our campaign season, our fundraising time, but it's fast all year around. But that's kind of in the nonprofits. Often you don't have a super abundance of staff or anything, so you're there and you're working hard, and but it's fun too. I came from the banking world before this, and it was a much different pace. It's a much slower, so it was like a 180 for me going from the bank to here to having, with the bank it was more like, I can do it tomorrow, I can get it done tomorrow, now it's like, I need to get this done right now.
How has your education prepared you for your career?
The education part, for this particular role, I mean, obviously the accounting and the business and the finance courses help, but really, and the education you get is more of, in my opinion, kind of gives you that foundation. You do a lot of your learning on the job. You need college and you need that stuff to get here, otherwise I wouldn't even be in this position, but it kind of builds that foundation and gets me ready and kind of primed and that for my learning opportunities. And then but yeah, so it's those courses specifically, and it's just even the general kind of liberal arts stuff you have to take that obviously I don't need U.S. history for my job here, but it's just those things that kind of make you better, more well-rounded, better conversationalist, and I think it's just good exercise for your brain.
What would be the starting wage for a job like yours?
Well, there would be no, for this role with this level of responsibility, a person couldn't come right out of college. to do it because they'd more likely want some experience doing this or that. So I would say I'm going to base it on if I was coming in at my experience, and it depends on the industry and the company. And, again, we're nonprofits, so it could be probably you could start at the high 30s, or 30,000s, or a person could even be starting in the 60,000s in this job too. A lot of it would depend on what they come with experience too.
What goals do you have personally in your career?
My first number of years out of college, I had a little bit more goals as far as like my career goals. I wanted to gain, management experience, and I wanted to, be a better leader and just get, just learn tasks and get more experience. And then again, I think with me, I'm at the point now where I'm not thinking too far out. I'm kind of thinking more day to day right now. Part of that is I've just been very busy, and then part of it is again the wife and kids thing. Is that it's funny how it's changed my focus a lot, because right now relationships are so much more important to me than my job and my career. I still want to do great, and my career is important because I need to provide, but I'm not really thinking too far ahead right now. But I think that'll change once my kids want to stop spending time with me.
What do you think it takes to be successful in a position like this?
A position like this, I think, obviously there's the experience part. If you came in here, you have to like numbers and have an understanding of it. But you also have to be willing, you have to have a good attitude, and you have to be willing, because it's not just numbers. Some people might be numbers people, some people might be people, or in task people, but this one, to be in office management or in operations, you need to kind of have a little bit of everything. So you can't just be here doing your numbers all day. There's a lot of communication that comes with it. But I think in any role, being successful, I think just being respectful to your employer, being grateful that they're providing you a paycheck because you've signed on to do that, and obviously you want your employer to respect you. Be respectful to your coworkers. I think if you have a good attitude, you treat people well, that just goes a long way, and you just and just always be willing to learn and to work hard.
Do you travel for your job?
Rarely. With this role and what we do, my travel really is only like if I'm going to a conference for a learning opportunity, and that's once a year.